So the very first thing you want to do is whatever mistakes you have on part one, you want to get those fixed. And once you have them fixed, come show them to me, and I will scribble my name right here, and that means you're protected from losing points past there, okay? Because if you don't have me sign there, I will recheck your part one when I check your part two, and if there are still mistakes, then you'll lose points off part two, all right? And it says that on the part two rubric. So I just want to make sure that as long as you have my signature here, that I won't go back and steal your points like a mean goblin. All right. So look on part two. Let's just look at the rubric real quick, which is page 26. Okay, so here is how I will grade part two. All right. Part two is the one that probably gives people the most trouble, but I'm going to show you two ways to handle everything. All right. So you're going to have two ways you can do it to help you out. You can ask for help from me. There's Miss Damon has the same lectures like before are also going to be in there, plus this lecture will be in there. Okay. So you're going to have a practice budget worksheet, which we're going to go over. It's worth 10 points. And then you'll have the same thing for each job. Here's the things I check. The line E, the housing monthly payment is exact and correct and highlighted. Transportation is correct. Your education is correct. I'm going to check randomly to see that your math is correct in two different boxes. And then your yearly amounts are going to have to add up to your line E. That's worth 7 points. Okay? And then same thing for job 2. At the bottom, if you didn't fix stuff from part 1, you lose 35 points. You can turn this project in 1 day late for minus 14 points if you want. It's only worth 80, but it's about 1 grade. If you want to turn it in 1 day late, it's about a grade. And then if it's in the correct order, minus 10 points. And then the checklist, which is here, 10 points for doing that. So 80 points, not too difficult. There are 2 pages right before that, the housing apartment and the car sheet. Make sure you read both of those before you go and shop, but I'm going to take you through the examples today. So if we go up to our practice pages, which start where do the practice pages go? This is 17. Thank you. Oh, you know what? That would be just my luck. Okay, so here is the beginning that you want to use for your part 2. All right, and once I find my pen, there we go. Okay, so it's got on this first sheet, it's going to have basically a little bit of a practice sheet for you to fill out some stuff that you're just going to copy onto your budget worksheets later. Okay, so your job 1, somebody want to give me their job 1? Police officer? Okay. Alright. Okay, so we got police officer. Are you married in this job? No. Good call. Alright. And do you have any kids? No. Okay. There you go. So that's how you'll fill that out. All right. Give me your Michigan median wage from career cruising. 3,000. Much better. 166. Okay. Yeah. Right. Been more broke than a teacher. Okay. So, give me your total. Do you have your total taxes by any chance? You probably don't have it. Okay, we'll make this number up. Let's see. You'd probably pay about $6,000. So, your total taxes, which you'll get from your worksheet, I'm just going to make up. And get that. And C, subtract these two. Luckily, I don't need a calculator since I'm using easy numbers. Okay? So that's how much money you have left after taxes. Now, some of you are going to have kids, all right? If you do, I'm going to show you how to figure out the kids right now, all right? So if you have kids, all you do is come down to this little kid worksheet, all right? There are two things. There's a dual parent issue right here, so that's if it's you and your husband, wife, significant other. And then if you scroll down, there's the single parent, so that's just you and your baby, all right? So that's the chart you use for whichever one. So let's just pretend that if you are married with kids, then you want to look at what income category you fall into. Is your income up to $39,000, 39 to 65, or 65 and up? If Tremaine had kids, okay, then he would have been right here in the 39,000 deal. We're just going to unplug the phone. Wrong number. Okay, so right here on the left, yes, Jasmine. Then you don't worry about this. No kids, you can daydream for a second. What's that? No. All right, so this on the left right here is the age of the kid, and then right here on the far right is the total cost. So a 3-year-old would cost a family of two $9,000 a year. All right. So if you had a 3-year-old with you and your wife, you would bring that up here. And then where it says if you have no children, write 0. You pay half the cost per child unless you're a single parent. All right. So you put half the cost here, and then whatever that would be, you subtract it, and that gets your line E. But since no baby mama drama, just get 0. So you'll have the same number here, 33,166. Okay? And you'll do the same thing for job 2. Yes, Macy. Okay, so we scroll back on down, and we get to the budget worksheet, which for you guys is on page 16. So here's my number I've carried over. This is the budget worksheet practice page. You're going to do the practice page first, and you're going to do it in this order. This is the only way to do it correctly. If you do it in any other way, you'll probably not do well. All right. So on the practice worksheets, as you can clearly see, it's just a little bit of room here for job 1 and job 2. All right. I'm just going to do this job 1 since that's just what our example is. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is housing. We have to find a house or an apartment, and we got to get it from that thing called the internet. All right. So what I have given you is the U.S. average. The average American spends 19% of their income on their house. Economists suggest you do not spend more than 25%, all right, out of your budget, because that means one out of every $4 you earn goes to your house. Okay. So what you're going to do to start this off is it's going to tell you beneath each thing how you figure out what goes in the box. So to get your chosen percentage, you pick any percentage. So, I don't know, 20 is an easy number to work with. 20%, okay? So I'll write in 20%. Then I'm going to follow the arrows. Multiply your percent by your ATI. So if I pull up my calculator, which is tough to see from your seat, but you can see it anytime you watch this, I take 0.20 times 33166. That gives me 6633. You don't need any decimals. So that's the yearly I can afford. This is not how much your house should cost. That would be a horrible mistake. You have to live in Inkster, okay? Just kidding, if you live in Inkster. All right. So that is your amount you can afford per year. What the number that's important to you is how much you can afford per month. So take this number, divide by 12. That gives you $552. So here's what I can afford. My 5s look like snakes. Sorry. per month. All right. Now, that is how much you can actually afford on your own. If you're married or you have a roommate, you can actually afford double that, which is what the ovals are for. So if you multiply this by 2, you get 1105. That's what you put in. You only use the ovals if you're living with somebody or you're married. If you're not, if neither of those apply to you, leave these blank. Don't use the oval. Okay? Yes. Okay. So here's what I can afford. At this point, you would go to the internet to find your house. The worst thing people do is they come down here and they start plugging in numbers here. Well, that would be silly because it says, do not do this until you find your house or your car. So that's what we're going to go do. We're going to look for a house. So I'm going to pop over to here and get on Realtor.com. All right? So on Realtor.com, I'm going to look for a house. Now, when you guys go, you're not going to really know what you can afford because you're just going to have a monthly number. And if we look for houses, let's say we want to live in Romulus, because who would want to live in this beautiful city? All right? So let's say you want to live in Romulus. You type it in, it's going to advertise some houses for you. Now, how much money did I have to spend? Quick quiz. Yeah, in the oval. 1105. Okay? We're pretending I'm married. All right? Even though that's a horrible idea. All right? Me getting married, not marriage in general. All right, so 1105. Yes, Jasmine.